Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Gone are the days of wrestling with our favorite LJN wrestling figures, trying to convince them to stand up. What's a guy to do? I'll tell you what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get on Etsy and look up 4 Left 3D Creations and get yourself these amazing custom LJN figure stands. There is a custom stand available for every single one of your LJN wrestling superstar figures. Make your display shine by grabbing these custom LJN stands from 4 Left 3D Creations today.
Hello everybody, Jason WWF Revolution in the cave for another LJN retrospective, taking a closer look at all of the figures behind me. We are up to Series 2, and we are one more figure away from being done with Series 2 after this episode, of course. The next figure we've decided to take a look at is the Junkyard dog. Of course, you see the dog on his custom LJN stand from 4 Left 3D Creations. Get over to their Etsy page right now, and for a great price, a surprisingly great price, you get yourself a custom LJN stand that reinvents the way you display your figures. Junkyard Dog, part of 1985 Series 2, and yet another figure that I got for Christmas of '85. Now, as I will explain later in the closer look at the figure, for some reason, for some bizarre, senseless reason, they made Junkyard Dog with 3 different colored chains. Silver was the most common, and then red and black were, for whatever reason, included in the batches of figures. This is the red chain version. I never had anything other than the silver chain as a kid. But as an adult, I don't understand why LJN would paint different colored chains. It's not like Junkyard Dog ever came out with a red chain or a black chain, and it's not like chains in general were walking around being red or black. They were silver. Chains are silver. Junkyard Dog is a perfect figure. I think it has an absolutely perfect play pose, and it's got a fantastic likeness. It's got a very appropriate body type for Junkyard Dog, and it's got some incredible detail, as we'll see later in the look. Now, I used Junkyard Dog a lot because he was such a perfect play pose figure. Junkyard Dog in my federation was very, very mid-card, but somebody that you could easily beat. So like when King Kong Bundy would debut, Junkyard Dog would be his first test. When I needed an Intercontinental title match, just like WrestleMania 1, Junkyard Dog would take on Greg Valentine and lose. He could convincingly put up a fight in a match. He could win matches over people like Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, but he was going to lose to King Kong Bundy and Greg Valentine and Randy Savage and guys like that. So I guess your definition of a mid-carder is the Junkyard Dog. Now, unfortunately, I never met Junkyard Dog. I do like watching him as I revisit WWF 1985, and I watch that footage over again. And I'm actually looking forward to the WrestleMania 1 match between him and Greg Valentine. I don't remember much of it. I don't remember how much offense he gets. I know that he loses with Greg Valentine putting his foot on the ropes. So that's a good way to have the Junkyard Dog lose. But I do enjoy watching Junkyard Dog in his prime in the WWF. I know that we could say his prime was probably Mid-South, but I enjoy watching early 1985 Junkyard Dog in the WWF because he's convincingly good. And man, does the crowd love the Junkyard Dog in 1985. He is one of the first wrestlers that comes out with an actual theme song of, Queen's Another One Bites the Dust. And the crowd in 1985, is in your hands more than they are in 2023, obviously. The crowd is in a good guy's hands. The crowd is in a bad guy's hands. So Junkyard Dog comes out, and his gimmick is he's going to dance, and he dances all around ringside, and they flash to the crowd, and the crowd, it's like a dance party. The crowd is going absolutely nuts, dancing along with the Junkyard Dog. So much so that at the ends of his early 85 matches, late 84 matches, October, November on TV, he would end the match and then he'd go out to the crowd and he'd bring kids into the ring and they would dance with him. And that put him over massively. Junkyard Dog was massively over with the crowd in 1985 because of because of his race, because of the music that he came out to, and because of the dancing. He was so over with the early 85 crowd. I think, unfortunately, Junkyard Dog gets a little older in 86, 87, 88, even 89 into WCW, NWA. Junkyard Dog came out and was actually a challenger for Ric Flair. They had a Clash of the Champions match, Junkyard Dog against Ric Flair. And Dog went through his trials and tribulations, and I think some addictions later on in his career. But at the end, it was kind of sad at the end of his WWF career because he was losing to everybody, and he was just kind of a 3-minute match at WrestleMania, and lose to, I don't even remember who, later on in his career, but Harley Race and guys like that he would just lose to. And I remember he would lose always foolishly. He would go charging into the corner and the guy would move and Junkyard Dog would hit the turnbuckle and fall down and get pinned. And, it was kind of over. Never met him. Obviously, he died long time ago in the 90s. Sadly, too. Junkyard Dog died in a car crash. And there's never really been any information about that. It was like mid 90s, late 90s, whatever. And before, internet and all the information that would come out about a particular death or whatever. So, did Junkyard Dog just simply die in a car crash? Well, yeah, that's what we're led to believe. I don't know if there was any substance stuff around it. That doesn't matter. Junkyard Dog, a very well-used figure in the LJN Federation, Christmas 85. And, so at one point in time, I had 2 Junkyard Dogs. Not as I do now, but as I did as a kid. 2 Junkyard Dogs. And what do you do with 2 identical figures? Well, you make them into a tag team. So Junkyard Dog had a twin brother, and I so brilliantly named him the Junkyard Dog. That's about 9-year-old me. Yeah, about 9-year-old me. 2 Junkyard Dogs for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't think I bought 2 Junkyard Dogs. I don't think maybe an aunt bought me. I don't know. But I had 2 Junkyard Dogs. Junkyard Dog and his twin brother, the Junkyard Dog. And many of my ideas were very, very well received by the childhood best friend. But I remember when I told him that I had this great new tag team, the Junkyard Dog and the Junkyard Dog, he groaned. He groaned in like disgust. Like that's awful. That's not Wild Desperados level. That's awful. And a very short-lived tag team. Very short-lived tag team. But Junkyard Dog got a ton of play. His brother Junkyard Dog, not so much. But Red Chain Junkyard Dog, custom LJN stand from 4 Left 3D Creations. And we will wrap up Series 2, or Series 1. Sorry, I think I said Series 2 earlier, too. I just always call it Series 2. But we'll wrap up Series 1 with Nikolai Volkov next. And then we'll move on to the next series, Series 2 or Series 3. All right, folks, here we have 2 Junkyard Dog figures. One, of course, in the beautiful custom LJN stand from 4 Left 3D Creations on Etsy. The other in the generic WWF custom LJN stand from 4 Left 3D Creations on Etsy. Why do we have 2 Junkyard Dogs? Well, because for whatever reason, honestly, a completely unknown, senseless reason, they made 3 different color chains. The red chain, which is something I never saw, the obvious choice, the silver chain, and then they have a black chain. I clearly have 2 of the 3. So I personally prefer the silver chain Junkyard Dog because, chains are silver. But we have, let's take a closer look at the Junkyard Dog face. Good looking sculpt, good looking hair, good looking beard, fantastic play pose, probably the best LJN play pose, right up there with Hogan. Again, would I complain if every single figure was a variant of this play pose? No. I mean, this is a perfect pose. I guess the only thing that could make it more perfect is 2 closed fists, but I don't even know about that. But here we have the dog collar, which I always thought was a pretty neat accessory. It clips together there on the side. And I don't know if that's coming into focus too well, but it clips there together on the side. So that clippy part was often broken. The dog collar and chain was one of the most frequently lost accessories for me anyways. I mean, any variant, if I ever had one Junkyard Dog, 2, I would never have the chains. Never. They would be long gone within days, like I've said before. Great looking outfit, red pants. We'll take them out of the stand. Red pants, JY Dog down the side leg. And then we have this awesome bulldog looking face there on the boot. That is pretty good detail for LJN. JY Dog on one side, JY Dog on the other. Unfortunately, what's missing? Thump across the butt is missing. I don't know why, since they put in so much detail on the boots here, I don't know why they did not include thump when this figure was being made. But Junkyard Dog, to me, is pretty close to a perfect figure. Play pose, sculpt, detail, and accessory. Fantastic, fantastic figure. The Junkyard Dog.